Hey guys, I recently saw on the Warframe Reddit where a few Tennos were asking why their guns didn't seem to be dealing as much damage as other people, even if they were using the same mods. So I decided to make a quick video explaining that mods aren't the only thing that contribute to your damage. And for that, we're going to take a look at the Twin Viper's Wraith. They are not a very good gun, they have a low mastery rank requirement, and generally people will consider them MR fodder. But let's throw some mods in like we have here and try and take them into Steel Path. So we've got some Steel Path enemies here. And it'll kill stuff. It definitely will. But it's not very quick. It's not very efficient. We will be standing here killing this entire pack of 18 enemies for a while and probably run out of ammo before we can kill some of the heavier armored units like these corrupted gunners. So we have a bad gun with okay mods, and so a lot of people will go, okay, well, maybe my mods need to be upgraded. So they'll go online, they'll search out some mods, and they'll slap them in, and now they have an arcane, some prime mods. Maybe they're not all leveled up, and now they take this same gun, they go, okay, I've improved my mods, they're better now, and they take them back into a Steel Path mission, and it doesn't go much better. It goes a little better, right? They're killing stuff after the first one a little bit quicker, and maybe they'll get through some of these guys. They might even get through this whole pack before running out of ammo, but it's still going to take a while. And they go, okay, well, you know, my gun doesn't deal as much damage as other people, even though I've got some of the better mods. And what they're not realizing is that most of the time, the people that are dealing a lot of damage are stacking a bunch of different effects on top of each other to deal that extra damage. It's not just the weapon. And so what we can take a look at here, and one of the bigger things that I recommend new players get a hold of is a way to armor strip. And for this example, I'm going to use Geyer here. I've replaced her 2 with Hildren's Pillage, and this removes armor from enemies. This will help against almost every enemy in the game. And there are a few infested, which are generally one of the weaker enemies, and Corpus, that this doesn't really help. Like, this will help on the Corpus because it steals shields, but armor stripping is one of the better things you should take a look at to increase your damage. But this frame also has an ability to increase our weapon damage outright. So this gives us extra crit chance, and I have 144 extra crit chance when I use it. And then I can use her 4 to kind of prime enemies nearby by hitting them with some chain lightning. So that'll work well with our galvanized shot that increases our damage based on the status effects on an enemy. So if we were to take these same guns, we haven't changed the mods on them, and now we take them into the Steel Path, and instead of just relying on the mods, we focus on armor stripping enemies and using our abilities to increase our damage. What took a while before to kill some of these enemies is now much quicker. You know, a couple of these enemies aren't fully armor stripped, but we're able to get through the pack quicker than we were before. And the only thing that changed was we've now armor stripped and used our Warframe to increase their damage. And there are even more steps you can take. So one of the better options I like to take is I suggest people, once they've got a frame that they like and their weapons are upgraded, get a companion. And I'll see a lot of people go, yes, I got a Smita Kavat, its charm increases my loot drops. And if you're struggling to kill enemies, loot isn't your concern. And this is where I suggest people get a Hound. Hounds are fantastic for priming enemies and honestly doing a lot on their own. In this case, it's basically down to 2 mods. So Synergize Prospectus here shoots out a lightning bolt, and it bounces between enemies, dealing some damage and an electricity proc. But if we couple that with Manifold Bond, every time our Hound does that, he applies the status effects from our weapon. Not our weapon, but the companion's weapon. And in this case, I've thrown some just basic status mods on there to make viral heat and radiation. I don't have a potato. I don't have it formad. I don't have a potato on the Hound. I don't have him formad. He is there to basically just prime enemies for me. And now what I do is I will spawn these same enemies in, strip their armor, and while I'm in a mission, my dog is shooting the lightning bolt and, bouncing and priming all these enemies, so once I get to them and start shooting them, the whole pack deletes pretty quickly. And that is just a few of the ways you can increase your damage to make it more consistent. You're still going to run into the problem that acolytes and demolists that don't really prime that well are going to be a problem. And so once you're out of things a newer player can do to round out their build, there are a few extra things you can do. One is rivens. If you take a gun that you really enjoy and you get a riven that's rolled really well for it, that can definitely increase your damage, but you're still going to want to stack it with everything else. Incarnins are another option, a gun that you might enjoy and find strong. Get the Incarnin for it if it's available. That'll definitely increase your damage. But something that can be used anywhere, and I frequently use it when I'm fighting Void Angels, Acolytes, Demolist, anything that takes reduced damage from statuses, or at least can't stack them up very quickly, and also has a limit to how much damage it can take, is the Matter tree. Now, the first ability in your operator consumes all the operator energy to increase your damage for 8 seconds. It says 4 here, but it is for 8 seconds. 4 is level 1. So, what you do is you take those same enemies. So, we've got these enemies here, and we strip their armor, right? And then we increase our crit, and our Hound is potentially helping us out here. He primes stuff, and now we pop Matter and stuff that took many magazines. Basically, everything in the room is dead, and we can move on to killing something else. So all of these things can stack and make it much easier for weapons to kill. And the only thing we've done for the weapons themselves is just add other options. And because these are so effective, we can remove some of the mods from the weapon that a beginner might have. And as long as we're still following those extra buffs, we'll still have good results. So again, we've removed some mods. Now we're going to strip their armor, increase our crit, do some chain lightning, pop Matter and what couldn't really kill a single one of these enemies before is now good enough between all the other things we've stacked on them to kill in just a few magazines. And this is even with less mods than we started with. So it's not just the mods that are on the gun, it's how many other ways you can kind of multiply your damage by using different effects. So I hope this helps.